Let's address the scene change here, Andy. We got rid of the brown. We're taking advice from people that are saying that our stuff was too brown.
Oh,
so.
Jack dropped
So.
after I denounced him to a nickel. Yeah, no, you picked up this entertainment center that's behind me, and it was interesting. Moving that. I'm still not quite sold on the 2 TVs and 1 cubby. I think you need to get like a monster TV for that, but
I'm not. No, it can't. It can't replace the CRT. I have the CRT for like the older stuff, like the NES and Super NES and
that's what
N64.
an upscaler's for.
Yeah, but I don't want to do it.
I don't want to do it because the CRT was like $10, and the real TV.
Actually,
was like
I got that CRT in a
$1,000.
trade. I traded a laptop for an N64 with a bunch of games and that CRT TV.
You know what you should do right there?
Actually, it was a laptop to Jack.
Get one of those projection TVs, like the old school big screens. Where
They had one for sale at Goodwill.
Okay, the fact that it was for sale is a problem, but I would just do that and take the bottom off of it and then put it right in there.
That would be kind of cool.
And then you can do both. Even though, like, the old, like, your vintage systems are going to look like crap on it. Because everything looked like crap on those.
Yeah, I remember playing my N64 on my parents', and it was, it was just so, like, flat. Like, it was, like, washed out.
I went to my buddy's house, and, like, we didn't ever have anything like that. I think we had a 27-inch Sony CRT. And we got there, and, like, I walked upstairs, and I'm like, oh, they have a big screen. And he was like, yeah, you like the TV? And I'm like, no, not really. He's like, what do you mean?
The most insulting thing is when you get something cool, or your parents had something cool, and you were like, I can't wait to show my friends. And you're like, isn't this awesome? And they're like, not really. And you're just like, what? I thought I was going to get some street cred for this.
It's like at 9 years old, it's like, no, I think you're a dipshit for just buying the hot commodity that doesn't actually look as good.
That's true, yeah.
Showing off that you make a lot of money.
People do that a lot nowadays. It's a real problem.
Well, the bigger problem is a lot of people don't make a lot of money.
That's also the big problem, too. All right, let's
what
jump.
What did he say? I can hear the high-pitched startup noise.
When you turn on the TV and it like
wing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can still see like the multicolored bars.
Yeah. So let's jump into this here. We got 2 little controversies going on in the gaming world. So we've got, I don't know if anybody, well, you've probably heard of him. Andy hasn't until earlier. Sketch. He's a Twitch streamer. He mostly plays Madden. He's been making his rounds, dude. He's been on like Theo Vaughn's podcast.
Damn it!
Just had to go there immediately.
You just told me about it, and then you go that way with it.
So, he was on an episode of Good Golf. They golfed with him. He's been on some Twitch streams with Bob Does Sports playing Madden with him. He did a draft pick for sure making his rounds. Yikes. He did a draft pick for the Houston Texans in the NFL draft, or he announced the draft pick or whatever. So he's gotten pretty big in a short period of time. So recently it came out that he had been on a gay OnlyFans account, like he did content for it. Apparently it was before he was internet famous. I think he said it was like a couple of years ago. He was dealing with addiction issues, and it was a dark time for him. So it kind of hit him out of the blue. It just kind of came out randomly. And he dealt with it. He actually said that if he found out about it and he was alone at his house, that he probably wouldn't be here, which is a huge thing there. Like, that's really sad that, like, despite what you've done in your past or what have you, like, the past is the past. You should kind of, like, decide when that comes out, or at least have a handle on it.
Well,
you can play two sides of the same coin there with, you know, it. You can kind of just come forward with it and just say it, or you can keep trying to hide it and hope that it doesn't come out, which he said that he was struggling with, you know, the fact that it might get released, it might come out at some point. But
so that right there, I don't know how many times I say this a week to multiple people, like, you know, whether it be my child, my family, my friends. It might even be like just the one phrase that I align with the most, and it's the idea that you can't unring a bell.
yeah,
Like, literally, once that's there, it's there. You're never going back. That's never stopping. So for him to say that, you know, well, I was thinking about, you know, when it would come out, it's like,
he was thinking about the possibility of it coming out,
but he's acknowledging it at that point.
Yeah, but he didn't say it, you know, out loud or anything. Like, it was just like this is a thing that could come out.
Sure,
whatever.
but if I put something out on the internet, like if MySpace was still up, you know, anybody could go out to MySpace and find my profile and dig up whatever dirt they wanted to at any given time, because the internet is forever. Like, unless somebody screws up like they did with MySpace, which is really sad, actually. But, you know, unless that happens, the internet is forever, and I almost feel like in today's world, you have to keep your guard up and be aware of everything, because, like, I mean, even if he didn't remember it, like, think 10 years ago, 2014, do you remember every little thing you did? Because I sure as hell don't.
Not
and
at
it's
all.
like, you know, so if there was something, I don't think I did anything back then that would be big enough to be like, oh, you did this back then.
That's another thing, too, is like, you know, depending on how long it was, you know, if it was a couple years ago, sure. But if it's something that you did like 10 years ago, and like 10 years is a long span of time, and you are a completely different person in that 10 years.
Well, I mean,
most of the time.
Let's stop and think here. I don't think he's.
Time.
I mean,
most of the time. Some people are literally the exact same for like their entire life.
Oh, behave.
So,
like,
he talked about it, and he said, you know, he was really glad that his
he
parents
sees both sides. Wow. All right, that's a interesting way to put that.
He has a point of like keeping a low profile is kind of the best thing, and then kind of addressing things, but it's something that's probably not on your radar every minute of every day of your life, is just thinking about, well, is today the day that it's going to get leaked? Or,
well, I certainly wouldn't be thinking that. I wouldn't be like
whatever.
walking around like, are people going to find out that
So he said, you know, if he got kind of emotional and like thanking his friends that were there for him, his parents being supportive and helping him through that. So then he comes onto stream after everything in the funniest way possible.
It wasn't that funny.
Dude, it was hilarious. He comes on, and the way he talks, the way he is, just, it's funny. I think it's funny, at least. He comes on, and he goes, let's address the elephant in the room. I got a haircut. And just, like, makes a joke, which is great. Like, that's best case scenario, is to come on, have some humor about it. And then he quotes Bill Clinton, and he goes, I did not have sexual relations with that man. I'm just kidding. I did, possibly. Cat's out of the bag.
Hey, he owned it. More power to him.
Which is the best way to attack it.
Here's the thing, though. What breaks my heart is that he felt that lost when everyone found out. He was that ashamed, or whatever, you know, word you want to use to describe what he was going through because of that. That breaks my heart. But for him to come back and say, all right, here I am.
Yeah.
I did it. Nothing's different.
Yeah, take it or leave it. Like,
yeah, it's like,
it's something in the past. I can't change it. I can only change the future. let's go.
I mean,
Like, and he said like it's not something he would ever do again because he doesn't want to go back to the person he was when he was dealing with addiction and in those dark times.
Well, yeah, and I mean, like, the bigger thing is if you liked him before you found out about that, there is no reason you should not like him just as much after that, because it doesn't have an effect on you in any way, shape, or form.
Exactly. If, like, that's another thing, too, is, like, I guess with it coming out, like, a bunch of people, like, decided not to support him anymore or were disappointed in him or didn't want to watch him anymore or whatever, and it's like, dude, he's the same guy.
Exactly.
Nothing, like, it's just something that he did in the past. It's not like he's... like,
do you know about
I won't go that far, but it's not like he's just like holding said events at his house.
Whoa! Where's that bell? I need that bell. Similar situation. Do you remember? Do you remember what happened with Buddy Nielsen from Census Fail?
No.
Oh, okay. We won't go there, but it was a similar situation. Something came out, and Census Fail had a lot of fallout from it. Granted, it's a little bit different because they're a band. This is an influencer or content creator. But for whatever reason, it seems like in America, we just want to judge people based upon decisions they've made that have literally no effect on us.
Yeah.
And they're just way distant. Like, if it was yesterday, I could see it. It's like, oh, whoa, yeah. Well, let's talk for a minute. Let's stop and find out who hurt you. But it's like 10 years. 10 years, to your point, is a long time.
Yeah. I don't. It wasn't 10 years ago that he did it. It was like it was a few years ago. I was using that. I was using the 10 years.
Hold up. What's a few?
Probably like 3 or 4.
Oh, whoa.
But
I'm just kidding. It doesn't affect me. It's 3 years ago.
I watched.
I don't know.
I watched the Asmongold video that he made, talking about like the situation, because anything that comes out in the realm of literally anything pop culture related or in the news or what have you, like he makes a video on it because he streams like 24/7, and his view on it was hilarious, and the words that he chose to say were hilarious. But but I mean, who cares? Like, yeah, he did some stuff back then that maybe you don't align with, but just because you don't align with it doesn't mean he's like trying to do it to you. You know what I mean? Like,
as long as it's not something that's out in the open. Like broadly out in the open, like people can go seek it out and look at it and actively find it.
Yeah, I don't know,
because that's something that would worry me.
I would assume with how big and popular he is, like there is a way for him to just be like, okay, that got leaked, cool, we're done with that. This is now in possession of me. No one can actively seek it out.
Well, yeah, and
it's like it's like Blippi and shitting on the other dude. Like, that was a video that you could actively seek out. I think you can probably still find that.
2 Girls, 1 Cup.
I mean, like during the pandemic, you've got a kids TV show guy just openly defecating on another man. Like, and that's a video that you could probably still find.
Okay.
Like if that's out there,
that's my point.
That's a different story.
So, the internet is forever. If he can get rid of that so that it doesn't influence the younger audience,
yeah.
And I mean, I don't care if it influences them anyway. Like, I don't want them to see that kind of content.
Well, yeah,
but
younger audience should.
From an ideology perspective, it doesn't bother me. Everybody's entitled to have their opinion and their preferences, and we're America. We're a country of freedom. If that means that you want to go
do whatever you please,
save a horse, ride a cowboy, then
yeah, and that's very true, Jack. Anything is on Reddit if you dig deep.
Oh,
I've gone down some YouTube rabbit holes of like dark sides of Reddit.
We're not going on Reddit.
Ooh, that is big yikes.
Reddit has. Ooh.
And we had a video blow up, Andy, of our coverage of Mr. Dr. Disrespect.
Speaking of disrespect, somebody told me I should eat some more cheeseburgers. If you're friends with me, you know that this year I have not drank at all. But just for you, Mr. Cheeseburger, you and whatever, I'm going to have a beer. Fatten on up. And it's a banquet. Come by, join us for one. I promise, we'll get along.
So in 2020, Dr. Disrespect was banned from Twitch, just out of the blue. Nobody knew why. Nobody was elaborating on it. Whole thing. Then, just now, in the past 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or whatever, it came out that the reason he got banned from Twitch was because he was talking inappropriately to an underage minor. Or an individual minor is what his tweet said.
Oh,
so
whoa.
It came out.
An individual minor?
That's what it said. An individual minor is what he said. So.
Well, at least he wasn't talking to a group of 10.
I guess, yeah.
I mean, what, group chat. Let's all go to the AOL chat room. ASL.
So he apparently knew, it came out that he knew that she was underage, but said that it wasn't a problem and continued to pursue it.
Right there. This is a point I made in the comments on that other video.
Yes.
Knowing is where it's a problem. If you know and you don't stop, that's your choice.
Here is the craziest part of it all. There are people that are like, she was 17, it's not that bad. Hey.
What the fuck?
It doesn't matter if she's 17 3/4.
I don't care if she's 17 and 364 days.
That does not matter. It matters that he is actively talking inappropriately to minors at all.
It's just
it
not
doesn't
okay.
matter. So that blows my mind, is that people try and and there is nowhere in any of the allegations and facts that say anything about the person's age.
Right. So 21-year-old talking to a 17-year-old, not okay.
No.
35-year-old talking to a 17-year-old, not okay. Literally any fucking number over 18 talking to a 17-year-old, not okay.
0.
Especially, and then you're married. Okay, let's
Yeah.
just go ahead and double down. Maybe go all in on this shit.
So
wake the
then,
fuck up.
apparently, in the conversations that he would have, he allegedly planned to meet them at TwitchCon. Big problem there.
What?
Big red flag. I don't think at this time that is a proven fact, because the records of the conversation have not come out. Will they come out? I don't know. I don't know if we will ever see records of the conversation.
Probably not, because Twitch settled with him out of court, right?
Yes.
So there's probably NDAs in place
But
on both sides.
if this escalates to any sort of investigation,
You mean criminal?
yes, that would probably make it so that the conversation would then be
Well, and even if it does get to
out into the open.
criminals, they could theoretically redact it, put a gag order on it if they wanted to, and keep it internal to the attorneys and the people that are pertinent in making decisions. So that way, to minimize the ramifications from public eye. I don't see what the benefit would be. I personally think this dude should burn, but
yeah. So, right when he had addressed the allegation at the time, allegations, he addressed them in a tweet. I think it was right before he made the tweet, the company that he helped co-found, Midnight Society, did their own investigation on it. and they just straight up cut ties, which is a red flag, because if they're willing to just cut ties right off of anything, no, like, nothing. Now, in his tweet, he said that it was a mutual separation, but in their announcement, it did not seem like it was very mutual.
Oh, yeah, I'll bet it's mutual. I'm sure. Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. Of course he's going to say that.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean, to be honest, so privately owned company, as soon as somebody is accused, you have no benefit to staying with them. Like, in America, you're guilty until proven innocent. I fully believe that. I think that needs to be embraced and embodied. But again, you can't unring a bell, so as soon as it gets out there that you're even being considered for something like that, anything that you are affiliated with is tarnished. Just from hearing. That's why they have gag orders and things like that to kind of try to stop that.
I don't know if I think it really depends on, like, the level of the crime, I guess, at hand, of, like, the whole guilty until proven innocent. I think with some things it should be innocent until proven guilty. But
did I say guilty until proven innocent?
Yes.
No, it's innocent. It is you are innocent until proven guilty.
I think there are certain, like, at the max level of, like, stuff like this that involve underage people and allegations being thrown around, like, I don't necessarily think that you should jump to guilty immediately unless there is hard evidence that is, like, this is kind of questionable. Like, if there's text messages or pictures or what have you being thrown around, then you're probably leaning more towards guilty till proven innocent. But none of that was going around with all of this.
Well, it's not supposed to be guilty until proven innocent in any situation.
Yeah.
You know, like, you're innocent until proven guilty, but that's what I was saying, was that the unfortunate facts are, as soon as the idea of you doing something like that gets out there, there's a ramification, like, there are repercussions because of people's perception of you at that point.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he might be a child offender?
Mm-hmm.
Do I want to be around him? Do I want to be affiliated with him? I think the answer is probably typically not, but I think you have to follow due process to really get to that and get to the bottom of it from a criminal perspective, while ensuring that people are safe. You know, accusations do have gravity.
Yeah. And so I guess in 2020, when he got banned from Twitch, Discord banned him from using their site as well. They're, you know, because they're a big, huge communication network of whatever you want to call it. So that should be another red flag, because, like, what? So Discord probably spoke to Twitch there in some sort of, you know,
maybe
some sort of conversation had to happen, and Discord was like, yeah, no, we're drawing a hard line. Absolutely not.
I don't even know if that conversation had to happen, to be honest with you. I think it's likely that it did, but if I'm the CEO of Discord and I find out about this, the first thing I'm going to do is say, not here, buddy.
Exactly. Like
that's not a liability.
That should have been a red flag too, is when, you know, they banned him. So no one was offering him contracts after he got banned from Twitch, because there was conversations being had and rumors going around and, like, gossip about why he was banned from Twitch, and I'm sure the people from Twitch were telling people, like, hey, this is why he got banned, and then people were like, yeah, we ain't touching him. Absolutely not. You know, he worked with companies like Turtle Beach. He worked with the San Francisco 49ers. He worked with a ton of, you know, big companies because he was a big entity. So when he came out and addressed the allegations in his tweet, it was originally it was edited. So he didn't. He had originally had minor in it, then edited that part out.
Well, yeah, he's sitting there like, do I want to tell people this? Do I want to really acknowledge this? Oh, shit, I should change this. Oh, shit, I already had it there.
That is a huge, huge red flag, and you might as well just put guilty across your forehead.
That's not a red flag. That's a white flag. That's an I give up.
That is so bad. What in the world is going on up there?
You mean to tell me that for as big as this guy was, he could not find anyone over 18?
If you heard that, that's our kids upstairs playing. That was probably really loud on the recording.
I don't know.
Not
if
positive.
I'm not going to call that playing. That's,
someone just dragging them. I want to bring up.
That was the CSX train going across your kitchen.
So I'm going to read the section of his tweet.
Oh, damn it.
About this. So he says, were there Twitch whisper messages with an individual minor back in 2017? The answer is yes. Were there real intentions behind these messages? The answer is absolutely not. That is insanity. Because the Twitch employee that had originally leaked the allegations on why he was banned said that he had planned to meet up with them at TwitchCon. So far, the things that the ex-employee from Twitch is saying has been correct. So, intentions behind the messages or not, there were still messages in the first place.
So there's different pieces of this that are wrong. One, the minor should not have been on Whisper.
No, but you can't prevent something like that. Unfortunately,
Correct.
You can't prevent, because there's no matter if you're on a website and they're always like we did it when we were kids. If they're like, you have to be 18 to sign up, it's like, yeah, I'm 18, okay, and you're like
right.
13.
Regardless, as you said, he knew. That's
exactly.
The point where, one, he should have reported her for violating terms of service,
exactly.
First and foremost. Secondly, for him to say, oh, yeah, I said a bunch of stuff, but I didn't mean to do it. Bullshit, man. Come on. Like
that's...
You can say no. You can be like, hey, I'm, X years old. I don't think this is appropriate. So I appreciate you, subscribing. Have a good day.
So
not... Let's meet up so I can whatever.
Yeah, whatever the intentions were. So
LJ, let's meet up.
To go back to his tweet, it said these were casual, mutual conversations that sometimes leaned too much in the direction of being inappropriate, but nothing more.
That was the problem, that they were mutual, dumbass.
Then
you shouldn't have been participating.
Then he says nothing illegal happened, no pictures were shared, no crimes were committed. Yes, there was. You were being inappropriate with a minor. That is wrong. Is it illegal? I mean, I don't think in the eye of the law. Is it?
Yes, it absolutely is. It 100% is.
Good.
As a coach, I'm not going to dig into what I do or anything like that for transparency, but I am a mandated reporter, so if I hear of it, I have to report it.
Yeah.
So
it's the same as like a teacher.
Right. So I have to understand what those, qualifications are for a situation like that. And yes, absolutely, any sexual, it doesn't have to be
no matter
contact,
how big, no matter how small, it has to be reported. Because if you don't report it and then it gets found out and then found out that you know about it, you're in big shit.
Well, and that's how most sexual assault begins, is with, communication and grooming.
Yes.
Yes.
So then he says, I went through he says, I never even met the individual. I went through a lengthy arbitration regarding a civil dispute with Twitch, and that case was resolved by a settlement. Let me be clear, it was not a criminal case against me, and no criminal charges have ever been brought against me. Then I don't have the rest of the tweet, but then he goes on to be like, if you don't follow me after this, that's fine, but I'm not going anywhere, and fuck you. Just basically, goes on this, tirade, and it's like, okay, here, what?
Bye-bye.
It's definitely a little sus, as the kids would say nowadays. So,
High disrespect. I'm Andy. Go back to recovery.
So it was the former Twitch employee was in the trust and safety department. That was the person who leaked the info, and apparently Twitch was working on like something that would detect that kind of stuff in the Whisper system. I think they called it Gold Sparrow.
Dude, people come up with all kinds of stupid names for shit. It's like X key score.
So
we just got flagged because
100% what he did is absolutely 1,010% wrong. He is guilty on all accounts.
Whoa.
Get him off everything.
Whoa. This is America. Due process. Can't declare him guilty. You can think he's guilty.
I think that he is very, very, very guilty from the facts and the things that I've seen come forward.
I think that an investigative agency should at least look at it.
I think that, yeah, it should be taken a step further.
You can set precedent with this case.
Even YouTube is demonetizing his content. So they took away his monetization and stuff. So, like, there's no way for him to, like, make money or get pushed through, like, to be, like, referred as, like, his content be as, like, pushed.
Yeah, but here's the problem. So he doesn't make money on YouTube. Most of America doesn't make money on YouTube.
Yes.
He's not, rolling in it anymore. That doesn't change his life at all. There's no repercussion there. He got a settlement. He got money.
I understand.
At this point, the man needs to be on Megan's Law.
I mean, yes. That is
like
100%.
This is why we have this fucking problem.
That's why it needs to be taken a step further. Like, he needs to be made an example of. So here's where I stand here. Should Twitch have come forward sooner and not let him just be out in the public eye for another 4 years before the allegations got leaked? Now, I know that there are rules in place about, since it was involving a minor, like they're protecting the minor, which I get that, but still, something should have been done much sooner than 4 years after the fact.
Well, and it may have been. This may have already been in front of an investigative agency.
I don't think so.
So that's the thing.
It wasn't out into the open. Nobody knew about why he was banned from Twitch.
You have any idea how many?
There was rumors and stuff within the corporate side of things, but it never got put out into the public until 2 to 3 weeks ago.
Right, but there's banning, and then there's criminal investigations. That's what I'm saying. Like, there are tons of criminal investigations that nobody has a damn clue about.
Yeah.
So they very well could have pursued that, and, criminal side may have said, we can't, there's not enough to do anything. We still haven't seen the conversations. There's a big difference between saying, oh, yeah, you look nice, and saying, oh, I want to,
yeah.
There's explicit, and then there's implicit.
That's I guess the gray area that everybody's living in at the moment is like it just says that it were inappropriate messages. It's like, how inappropriate did they go, and how did the potential meetup get talked about, and all of it? Like, how was the actual conversation going? It was still wrong 100%, but
I get
the extent of everything and like how it actually went would be the determining factor of like whether it's something that's like, okay, that you need to be put away, or you just need to be taken off of social media because you are clearly a menace. Because he got caught, I don't know when it was, before he cheated on his wife. And he came on stream out of character and addressed the situation, took a break, came back, streamed, and then he got banned from Twitch, and then all of this happened. And then he says, oh, I'm not the same guy I was when, this happened. Well, clearly you have a history of that, because if you cheated on your wife at one point, and then you come back and then this happens. So, and then he made, in his tweet, he made like the remark of like, that I don't support any of the, this blah blah. He's like, I'm a husband and a father. Okay.
Whoa.
As a father, if I have a daughter who's starting to use the internet or go into the, like, chat rooms and stuff, and I find out that there is a grown dude talking to my daughter, that's a problem. And I'm going to fix it regardless who gets involved. Because that is not okay.
Without a doubt.
If you're a father, why are you partaking in that if you're so against it? Do you see the problem here?
I mean, it's very apparent. If anybody, like, I don't care who you are, if you can't see that this guy is, like, just spinning a load of bullshit, then,
yeah,
you know, I got some seaside property in Montana to sell you. But, like, dude, it's just not okay. I mean, that's the biggest thing, is that it's not frickin' okay.
No.
Like,
no.
These...
No matter the age, no matter how close to 18 they may be, it's wrong. It's wrong. Cut and dry. That's it. That's it. It's wrong. Get him off of everything. Send him away. Do what you must. He doesn't belong here.
I'm going to go find him.
I think he's on vacation. That's what he said.
He's permanently on vacation.
Yeah.
Which is probably a good thing for the American workforce. We don't need dumbasses like that anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's... The fact that there are people actually defending him is pretty insane. And like I said, for a small channel like us to put out, you know, just to touch on it, that's what we did. We just touched on it in our little segment that we put out. We didn't go into, like, deep detail or anything like that. For that to go, for us, you know, get almost 2,000 views and, you know, 40-something comments flying in. And it was a bunch of mixed feelings. Like, the like-to-dislike ratio was, like, teetering pretty hard. The comment section was wild.
You guys hated on my hero.
It's... I get the...
Sorry you picked that for a hero, kid.
I get the disappointment of, you know, somebody you may have looked up to or something like that. But the whole, like...
Yo,
parasocial relationship thing going on with, like, celebrities and people, it's a like, you'll defend them to the ends of the earth. It's a bit of a problem.
I idolized Tiger Woods growing up because golf was literally my life.
Yeah.
Years later, we all know what he did. Not great.
Yeah.
It did not crush me. I was not mad, and I did not defend the man. I said, that's not okay.
Yeah.
Was it the end of the world? No.
No. But
I stood up for what was right, not for him.
To be fair,
I guess these are different kids.
The world that we live in now, that, like, you're more connected to, like, especially a streamer. Like, you feel more connected to that person. You know, like, I'll be honest, like, when I watch, you know, the people that I regularly watch on YouTube or whatever, like, I feel like I'm not just watching somebody on YouTube. Like, some people I've watched so long that it feels like I've grown up with them in a sense. You know what I mean?
Okay. Do you feel that way about Jennifer Aniston? Because you've been watching her a hell of a lot longer.
It's very true. No, I don't.
Exactly.
But I'm also not intaking Jennifer Aniston content, like, every single day of my life.
Well, what are you doing?
And to touch on your point, Jack, I didn't miss that. We just kind of were in the thick of it here. You said that personally, with everything going on in today's world with allegations and etc., it makes you not even want to have kids, since fathers are most likely to harm children, and you see that play out in court cases with custody. Not even child offenders, but there's many cases of people making it big and accusations come.
Why does that have bearing on you wanting kids?
It shouldn't have a bearing on whether you should have kids or not. As a parent myself, about to be a parent of another boy, actually. I don't know if I've said that on the podcast or not. We are approaching due date. You know, I kind of
approaching.
I get lost in the my daughter's growing up. The more she gets closer to going to school and being out of the care of somebody that I trust, I worry about those outside influences, the people that are out there, the craziness that exists in the world. But you can't let it rule your decisions, and you can't let it affect your life, because if that's the case, then you're never going to do it, and that's going to be something that you heavily regret. As it's a thing that happens when you become a parent. You have this cloud of anxiety that hangs over your head constantly, and it never goes away. It's always something new. It's always something else to think about. Always other possibilities. What happens here? What happens here? Will this happen to me? Will, like, this, that, the other thing. Regardless of what you worry about, don't ever let it affect your life to the point where you're making decisions based off of that.
Can I hit that quick?
Yes.
I do want to just clarify on your point or statement that fathers are most likely to harm children, and then that plays out in court cases with custody. Obviously, at that point, it's been, the parents are separated. Studies have actually shown that single-parent households of a father are typically more consistent and more beneficial than other arrangements. So while that may be true that, men are often viewed as being more violent or more abusive, and that may be fact when it comes to domestic violence, when it's domestic violence involving separated parents in a custody case, typically fathers are much more compassionate.
I could see that, but I do kind of lean on the side of, like, if there's a case where, a child was harmed, based on the details, most of the time I'm banking that it's probably the dad, just because as a male you're naturally more aggressive, you're not as nurturing, but, like, you don't have that, like, I mean, some people do, like, but as a male, like, it's our I'm trying to think of the way that I want to put it. Like, our first instinct with a child isn't to nurture; it's to protect. That's naturally the male's role in said relationship, is I am the protector and the provider. And when it comes to nurturing and care, that's usually where the female comes into play. In both households, obviously.
I mean, I think conventionally speaking it would be, but you got to remember that in a separated household you don't have that to lean on.
Yeah, but I think that's why in a majority of cases it does come that, like, the male was aggressive, but it makes sense because that's kind of ingrained in your brain, and especially with stress, anxiety, depression, etc. Like,
well, that's the stereotype. That's what I'm saying. Is, like,
yeah.
The stereotype is, the kid got hurt, kid got abused, his father did it. But what I'm saying is that in a lot of cases,
it should never be stereotyped. That's what
I'm saying. Is that the stereotype
yeah.
isn't really holding up.
Yeah.
I mean, there are definitely instances where that's the case. I've seen it myself, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
But, I've also seen cases where the father is literally more like a mother than a father.
Yes, I can agree there. I've seen firsthand a lot of people that are, single parents that have stepped up and done what they needed and at any means necessary to take care of their kid, make sure it's been taken care of, provide, protect, etc. And I've also seen the opposite. I've seen people fall apart, and when they once were a nurturing, providing parent, now are just becoming an absolute menace and should have their kids ripped away from them 100%. So
Yeah,
I've
I
seen
mean-
both sides, of the single parent household. Um,
It makes me thankful every day that I have 7 wives at home to help. I don't.
Nah, I forgot your 7 wives. What were their names?
7th heaven, man.
Rose, she's a gem.
Blanche,
Blanche. Isn't that one of the characters from Golden
Dorothy,
Girls?
Sophia.
Just
I have the 4 golden girls at home. And then the 3 of their friends we picked up along the way from Florida.
So, let's touch on a topic here. Do we grow out of gaming?
Yep.
I used to say no. I used to say that definitely isn't the case.
And then it happened.
And then it started to happen. I'm definitely not, I haven't grown out of gaming, per se.
Not entirely, but you have grown out of gaming.
But I
To a
have
degree.
at the same time. There are definitely moments where, I have some free time and I'm like, oh, I could play a game. The issue for me is like, what do I want to play? And like, the issue there is attention span is not what it used to be, because I look at, my shelves of games and I look at all the options that I have and I'm like, I don't even know where to start. Like,
Well,
do I
think-
go with the old classic, or do I start something that I haven't played, or what do I do?
I think that's just an articulation of the way that your ADHD has shifted because you used to be able to hyper focus on one thing for like 3 days at a time, and now it's like,
Yeah.
shit, I can't focus on one game for longer than 30 seconds.
Yeah, like if it doesn't
plus
capture
you're-
me it in like fairly quick,
Like-
then it's like, all right, I'm just going to move on to something.
We're going to
else.
do a deep dive psychologically here.
Oh boy.
When you were younger, did you have this many games?
No.
So, what makes you think that having this many games isn't why you can't pick one? Is it because of the collection that you've created the problem?
I could see the argument on that it is, but I also
Let me take most of them with me, and then you have like 5 to pick from, and we'll see if it's still a problem.
but I mean, a lot of these,
that was a hard
I'd
pass.
say like 50 I'd say maybe 35% of the games that are over there are games that I've played at some point in my life, whether it was when I was a kid, when I was a teen, or, in my early adulthood, that I have fond memories of, that part of collecting is like getting those games that you played when you were younger, you have nostalgia for, etc. And, you have those to play at any given moment.
Hold the hell on.
What?
You have an expansion pack for your N64?
Yes.
Like the red one that goes in the front?
Yes.
The hell?
Yeah. How did you not know this?
You never told me.
Why did you need to know?
So I could borrow it in Donkey Kong 64.
You can buy one.
I don't...
Or, here's a better idea. You can come over here one night and we can stream and play a game.
This game pisses me off. That's a great idea. I would love to do that. Maybe you should invite me one day.
I mean, it is in the plans.
You know what I got invited over for? Moving entertainment centers.
No, you got invited
Mounting-
over for a cookout
mounting
and fireworks
thermostats.
watching.
I did. That was great until that house was in the way.
All we had to do was step over a little
We
bit.
just
so we
we
could
should
see
have
it.
moved the house.
But I do find myself kind of like growing out of game. I mean, I'm sure when my kids are a little bit older and they start to either show an interest in playing some of the games down here and playing them with me, or just being like, nah, dude, I ain't playing your video games. I ain't no nerd.
You want me to tell you what's going to happen? I'll tell you what's going to happen. I'm going to call it now, and we can decide if I'm right when it happens.
Oh boy.
when your kids figure out video games on their own,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to realize that that will occupy them and give you freedom to do the other shit that you want to do.
I'd like to share like
You
playing
will.
games with my kids.
Yeah, like you will play with them. You will play the games with them.
Mhm.
Maybe not every game they play. Like
Yeah,
my
probably
daughter
not.
plays Splatoon 2. Hell no, I'm not interested. No, thank you. Like if she really wants me to play, I'll,
Suck it
weather
up
through
and
it.
play, yeah.
But when she like plays video games, unless it's like, I think Overcooked is probably the one that we play together the most.
Yeah.
Unless it's something like that, she or Fortnite. Sometimes we play Fortnite together. I get waxed. So there's that. But those are like the only two games that we really play together. Most of the time she'll like play Fortnite on her own or Splatoon or any of the other games on the Switch, and I'm just like,
Have you tried to? So here's something that me and the wife have been talking about. She sent me a thing. I think it was last night.
you guys are talking again?
Yeah. She
that's a
sent
good sign.
me a thing that was like, this was peak at at your childhood, and it was like going to get popcorn at Blockbuster, renting a movie, and like maybe renting a game, and then bringing it home and making the popcorn and watching the movie. And she's like, it sucks that our kids aren't going to have that. And I said, yes, they are. They have a basement that's full of movies over there and has games over here. What we can do is like tell them, hey, let's go pick a movie. You can go pick any movie in the basement, and we can watch, put it in, and we can watch the movie. And then with the game, you can, pick a game, and then we can sit down and we can play the game. Like, make it an experience for them. And, we can get popcorn and make it and do the whole thing. So it's like, you still have that to a degree, and you can, go as deep as you want into like making it an experience and this and that.
I'm just going to put this out there. I've looked through that rack of movies, and you're going to be waiting a while until we get to her age being able to watch any of that.
I've got a good mix.
But no, yeah, like we've done that. Like, so my daughter and I have the N64 in my living room still.
Yeah.
Still can't find GoldenEye to save my life, which is like probably a good thing, because the way she gets angry at Mario Kart, if we were in GoldenEye, that's going to be like flip-flop from Fortnite, where I'm just like, oh, you like a grenade launcher? And it's just like, oh, don't, Dad! Not my fault, you suck. Get better.
Yeah, I
would never actually say that, but
would.
I know you would.
Yeah, and then like another thing about having like a game collection and stuff is, having, some friends over and just kind of sitting down and playing the games, but you are pretty much the only friend that I have that actually shows up at any point. So
He doesn't do that. I'm his only friend.
pretty much.
And Keith, on a good day.
We'll see if he watches this.
No.
Yeah, like, which is something that I do want to start kind of like trying to do a little more often is, have you over one night after everybody goes to bed, and we can, sit down, maybe we can pop the game in a stream and...
Yo, you said after everybody goes to bed, and I'm like, where's this going? Where's this going?
It's a widow secret.
We're going to be calling you Sketch soon.
Yeah, we can sit down and just kind of like play a game. We could, stream it or whatever and see if anybody cares and wants to have a little fun.
Hey, thinking about that, I don't think Clinton said man.
Well, no, he said woman, obviously, but in Sketch's terms, it was a man. But yeah, like I've also been talking to an old friend about getting a little group together and playing some Magic, because I've been on a Magic kick hard lately. And
Do I need to leave the room?
No.
Okay.
But you will be taking that dive here soon. I'm going to teach you how to play Magic.
No, sir.
Yes, you.
No,
Yes,
sir.
Yes. You don't have a choice in the matter.
I'll take you to the driving range before we do that.
You will sit down with me at one point and we will play Magic.
No, sir.
Yes.
I don't have cards.
I have them.
I know.
here.
I gave you mine.
I have multiple decks, and I'm working on a battle box that's going to be really, really, really fun. So,
I'd rather go hit an 8-iron.
shut up. Shut up. I would also rather go.
My clubs
But-
are in the car.
It's 8 o'clock.
They're up until 11. It's lit.
Are they open till 11? I thought it was 10.
10 or 11. If we stop now, we can make it there.
What else did I? Let's do our movies here.
I'll take a 2-iron.
Let's jump into the movies because it's nothing really to write home about.
I literally don't know a single one of those. I have not seen any of those movies.
You get out of here.
I have not.
Really?
Yeah, I like 2016 I basically stopped watching movies, like new movies. Like I've seen a lot of old movies. I'm watching stuff like that I used to laugh at.
Oh yeah, I do that too.
But the new stuff, it's like, hey, Hollywood, you don't have a clue. I'm not supporting it. I'm sorry. I've seen like kids movies.
Well, clearly.
Like the stuff my daughter would watch, but all that shit. I didn't even see Power Rangers. What? Sorry.
It's okay, but none? Well, this is going to be fun. We'll just get right into it, Andy. 2016, we have one honorable mention. It is Terrifier. Now, we didn't watch this until probably like all but a year ago. And it's a horror movie, very graphic horror movie. Like, and it leans more toward like the old style of horror movie, where not a lot of dialogue, not a lot of talking in it, and like the killer or the villain or whatever you want to call him is just silent and just does whatever. He's a clown. Really good. We have yet to watch the second one, but we enjoyed the first one. So that's on the list of things to watch.
Analytical take. Given the 4 actual selections, if it only made honorable mention, it's probably not worth watching.
It's definitely worth watching. I definitely would say to watch it.
What's it called? Pacifier?
Terrifier. So, the top 4 here are Deepwater Horizon. That's based on a true story. It's about the people that are out drilling for oil in the ocean, like on those big, huge rigs.
An oil rig.
Yeah, and the oil company comes in and thinks they know everything and tells them how to do their job, and they're like, no, we shouldn't do it that way. It's not safe. Of course, things go wrong. Big explosion, fire, whole 9 yards. It has Mark Wahlberg in it. It's a really good movie. We really enjoyed that movie.
Get to the chopper. Get to the chopper so we can get off this damn thing.
We've got The Accountant, which I really like this movie.
What?
It's Ben Affleck and Anna Kendrick.
Whoa.
Ben Affleck plays... Oh, John Bernthal's in it, too. Ben Affleck he plays this guy they call the accountant. He's like a trained like assassin, basically. Like, highly technical in like shooting and fighting, etc. But he has autism. So like the thing with him is like he needs to finish what he started, and if he can't finish it, it sends him like down like a spiral, and he starts to like freak out. So like part of his like routine is, I guess, at night when he goes home, he like has a wooden like like thing that he beats his shins with
Paddle?
strobe lights going on and like really loud music.
Paddle?
No, it's like it's kind of like just like a, I don't even know, a peg, whatever. It's like he just hits and he rolls it on his shins. Really good movie. Fantastic. I really, really enjoyed that movie. We've got Patriots Day, another Mark Wahlberg movie. It's about the Boston Marathon bombings. Really good movie. Mark Wahlberg kills it in Deepwater Horizon and Patriots Day. And then we have Don't Breathe, which is another like more like thriller type of movie. It's about this dude who is blind, and these teenagers, I think, go in to try and rob him, maybe. And his sense of hearing is amplified with one of his senses being taken away. And they like get into like this like cat and mouse game with him. Really, really good. They did it really well, where like they take away something in the movie to make you have that same feeling, to kind of experience it. Have you seen any of those?
No.
Well then, I think my pick for that would probably be Deepwater Horizon.
No.
Just because it's got a lot of rewatchability.
No.
Okay.
The Accountant.
I see why. 2017, we've got the top 4. We don't have any honorable mentions. We have Only the Brave. It's about what do they call them? They're like firefighters, but they do it they fight forest fires. I forget what they're called, but it has the dude that played in the new Top Gun movie.
Canadian Mounties?
No, they're like firefighters, but they're like the elite level. I forget what they're called. It has it has the dude that played in the new Top Gun movie. He played Goose's son. He was pretty popular for a hot minute. I can't remember his name.
Top Gun didn't need a remake.
It didn't get a remake. It was a
Well, yeah,
sequel.
I mean, the sequel, my
That
ass.
sequel was great.
It was just like The Force Awakens.
Oh my dear God, I could choke you out.
Disney got a hold of Star Wars and said, "Let's do all 3 of the originals in one movie
Shut your mouth.
and kill Han Solo
Miles
while
Teller.
we're at it."
That's the guy's name. Miles Teller. Really good movie. I think, again, that's also based off of a true story. We've got The Upside with Kevin Hart and why am I drawing a blank on his name?
Who?
Jesus, Walter White. Bryan Cranston. Kevin Hart is like, he helps to take care of Bryan Cranston. He needs a job, and Bryan Cranston's in a wheelchair, and he is very like against it at first, and then they start to like get to know each other and develop a relationship and this and that, and it's really, really touching movie. Definitely didn't expect it to be good, because I'm not really the biggest Kevin Hart fan, but I do love Bryan Cranston, so yes. Then we have Shot Caller. You need to watch this movie.
High baller, shot caller.
I love this movie. We watched this on a whim. It's about this dude who is in jail. He gets in with like the white supremacist group, and he ends up wanting out. But
You don't
apparently with that,
You don't leave.
you don't leave. So he works his way up the rank and literally kills the dude at the top. Then starts running shit and basically like shuts the whole thing down. Really good movie. If you haven't seen it, it's definitely one of those things where you see it and you're just like, it's definitely worth the watch. And then we have the Power Rangers movie. I want to say this was like a reboot, kind of. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't anything to write home about. I just couldn't find a fourth for this. So that's why it's there. Me personally, I couldn't find one. I don't know about anybody else. Like I said, these are for us, not for the entire audience. Well, mostly for me, but you've had your share in there.
She frosted me like a cake.
My pick's Shot Caller because we've watched that many times, and John Bernthal's in it, and John Bernthal is a badass.
Shot Caller.
2018, we have no honorable mentions, just the top 4. We have mid-90s. You need to watch this movie. It's a period piece movie.
I don't want to hear anything about that.
Not that kind of period. It's about skateboarding.
Oh.
And it's based about being in the mid-90s. Like that time period. Dude, it is so well done. It was made by what's the A19 whatever films. They did a lot of like pretty solid movies. This is probably one of my favorite. I watched this I think 2 or 3 times back to back because I liked it that much. It's so good and well done. I absolutely love it. We've got Instant Family, another Mark Wahlberg movie. Have you seen Instant Family? It's
no,
another
Marky
one.
Mark.
It's
No.
another one you should watch. It's about
Marky Mark should have stayed in New Kids on the Block.
It's about a family who wants to adopt kids, and it's basically about how challenging it is to actually adopt kids. So, get off your god. I'm gonna start making you lock that up from here on out.
Why?
Because it's ridiculous.
Dude,
It's
just deal with it.
It's unprofessional.
Deal with it.
I
I'm
will
not here to be professional. I've done said the F word at least 20 times.
That's fine.
I'm professional all day long.
Yes, Instant Family was a good one.
Bullshit.
So they go. It shows like how hard it is to actually adopt kids. So like they foster them, they become attached. The mom wants to come back into their life. She obviously can't take care of them like she should, provide them with a great life, and they eventually do get to adopt. It's really, really good. We saw it in theaters. We've got Ready Player One.
Doesn't surprise me. Wait, what?
Tell me you've seen Ready Player One.
I may have.
With the virtual reality, it's a Steven Spielberg film based on the book.
Tell me more about it. For
So
once.
this kid goes into this virtual reality like world, and there's like a contest where if you win the contest, you get to like basically own the company, like the whole thing. So like he's really good at it or whatever. It's really, really good movie. If you like video games, there's a lot of like little Easter eggs of video game stuff from over the years in there. Really, really solid. Then you have The Clove Hitch Killer, another one of those movies that you're kind of just like, what? But it's not horror per se. It's more of like a thriller / suspense in a way. It's about this. They live in like a small town. There's a guy that has been like having these like sort of like serial killer-esque things, and then what are you doing? And then
You said serial killer-esque.
yeah, it's like, you know, small town like serial killer type of stuff going down.
Like Hex Hollow.
Like what?
Like the Hex Hollow murders.
I guess.
That wasn't really a cereal thing, I don't think.
But he always leaves behind like a knot, and he ties them up or whatever, and like the knot is like his like call sign, I guess, or
So-
his like signature.
His calling card.
And it turns out, that I'm not going to give it away, but throws you for a loop. Really, really good movie. Out of these 4, I think I have to choose mid-90s just because I loved it that much.
I mean, I liked Ready Player One.
Huh?
I liked Ready Player One. That's the only one I've seen.
That's a good one. It's a good one to pick. So 2019, we have Us. That's another movie that you have to watch. It's like a thriller, borderline horror. It's about this family who has these like it's like a darker version of themselves that come in, and they're like the forgotten ones basically, and they try and take over the family's, like the regular family's life, to live that life as them.
Do you know what the real thriller is?
Michael Jackson.
Well, yes, but also when you're done with this segment.
Really good movie. I think it had a sequel, and that was also really good. El Camino, which is the sequel to Breaking Bad. It takes the events of like the end of Breaking Bad and shows Jesse tying up all the loose ends and stuff like that. I didn't like it when I first watched it, but then I rewatched Breaking Bad and then I rewatched Breaking Bad and immediately watched El Camino and was like, yes, that's the way you have to watch it. Like, if you're going to watch it, watch Breaking Bad first, or the end of Breaking Bad, and then watch that directly after. It makes it that much better.
The expert recommendation is not to watch Breaking Bad, but to relive it.
That's probably my favorite.
Go buy an
of all
RV
time.
and a whole shitload of pseudoephedrine. Get a chemistry degree, teach some kids, burn some shit down.
Then we've got The Irishman. Stacked cast.
Was that supposed to be an Irish accent, or?
I didn't try to do an Irish accent. It had the Irish accent.
That's Scottish.
It's way too long.
They hate each other.
Way too long, but it's a good one to watch.
Gonna use this accent for the rest of the night.
And then we're gonna say Long Shot. That's Seth Rogen and I forget her name. They used to be friends in high school. She's like a politician. He's like kind of like a burnt out, pothead, like Seth Rogen normally plays.
Long shot is literally the word we use to describe you with anything you do.
Pretty much. So that they reconnect,
except for hunting, apparently.
and he brings her down to back to like reality, and like out of like lets her like kind of relax and stuff.
Snap back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. Oh,
I hate you. Because you don't know any of these movies, you're just like, I'm just gonna make this segment impossible for him to focus on. It's Us, definitely Us. It's really, really good.
oh, there goes rabbit.
Then 2020, again, no honorable mentions, and I struggled to find 4.
You're making my point for me. There's a reason I haven't seen any of these frickin' movies.
So you need to watch this one because it's ridiculously funny. The Wrong Missy. It's David Spade and I think her name is Melissa something.
Not to be confused with David Gravel.
He meets this girl before he goes on this flight, and he gets her phone number. Then he went on a blind date with this girl, didn't want anything to do with her. Then he texted her and invited her on this work trip because they hit it off. He invited the girl that he had the blind date with that he didn't want anything to do with, and she shows up, and she is a train wreck, and it is absolutely hysterical, the shit that she does. It's so fun. Nick Swartzen's in it.
So it's a comedic play on Vanilla Sky.
Dude, it is so funny. We saw her dad watching it the one time we were over at their house, and
Not surprising.
We watched the most of it, like there, and we were dying. And then we watched it at the house, and we were like, Jesus Christ, like this is. You would laugh at this movie. I know you would enjoy it.
Maybe.
We've got Underwater. This has Kristen Stewart, and it's about these like workers that are in this like base that's deep at the bottom of the ocean. And what happens is like part of it's like in this like octagon, and part of it starts to leak, and water breaks through, and they have to like rush to get to like the safe spot to shut it down, so that way it closes off that section from the other sections.
Dude, no freaking way.
So they put
a dome at the bottom of the ocean and it sprung a leak. Holy shit!
This was one of those movies that we just took a gamble on, and it legitimately like made me uncomfortable. Like not uncomfortable in the sense of like hard to watch, but uncomfortable in the fact that like how you would be at the bottom of the ocean in pitch black, walking down there with just a single beam of light to direct your way.
And knowing that if you didn't do it right, you were going to get crushed by thousands of millions of gallons of water, and drown.
And
a slow,
there's
painful death.
There's a creature at the bottom, so that's like yoinking them out.
Oh, cool.
So like they're trying to dude. It legitimately was just like, oh my god, like this is. Ugh. Like I could imagine being in that position and just very uneasy.
Aye, she's a danger noodle. Yoink.
It's not like a grand crazy movie where you're just like, oh my god, but it was definitely one that was like I haven't like watched a movie that made me feel that way. So that's why it's on this list. The King of Staten Island, Pete Davidson. It's basically a movie about Pete Davidson.
I've heard that was good.
It's really good. It's he lost his dad in 9/11.
You know what was better?
What?
That British dude's joke about his dad.
I think he makes jokes about his dad too.
The part where he's like, "This is not the roast of Pete Davidson's father." That was in 2001.
Yeah. This is like I guess it would be considered like an indie movie. It's really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I don't think she watched it with me. I think I watched it on my own.
That was the beginning of the end. That's
and
where all the problems started.
A Quiet Place Part 2.
What happened in Part 1?
I guess that probably got missed. There's been a bunch of movies that I thought about after the fact that got missed, and I'm really mad about it.
You didn't put Donnie Darko on any of the lists, and I wanted to hit you in the face.
Was that before 1990?
Yeah, no. What the no? Jake Gyllenhaal was in it, man.
Okay.
It was like 2008, 2007.
Was it really from
maybe
then?
even 06.
Oh, well.
Yeah, we skipped right over it, and I didn't say anything because I was secretly over here stewing, and one day I'll probably slowly kill you and burn the body.
I forgot one of my favorite movies of all time, and I'm still mad about it.
Well, you haven't forgotten it anymore, so
there's been plenty that I've missed, and it's heartbreaking.
I mean, yeah, you've missed a lot.
Yeah, I definitely have missed a lot because, like I said, if I would list everything, we'd be here all night.
Dude, this is why they tell you to pay attention in school.
I'd say it's The Wrong Missy because that movie's hilarious, and we just watched it again not too long ago, and it was fucking hilarious.
I can't offer.
I know because you don't watch movies.
I do watch movies. I just don't watch dog shit from post 2016.
Oh no, where'd my mouse go? Come
the
back.
cursor is gone.
Come back. Oh, there
Kermit the Frog here.
The last segment here to take us out.
LJ had Miss Piggy's cousin for dinner.
Is the NES really that great of a system?
Nope.
Or is everybody blinded by nostalgia?
It's just nostalgia. It's just that it was like the first big, like, ooh. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you had Atari, yeah, cool. And then Commodore 64, all that stuff. It was neat, but, like, it wasn't to the point where it captivated its audience. Like, Pong can only do so much.
Yeah. You can only do so much with like Pitfall and stuff on the Atari.
Well, and I think it's funny how, like, these Neuralinks that they're doing, like Elon's other company, it's like, oh yeah, we implanted something in somebody's brain. He's over there playing Pong without his hands, and it's like, fuck, man, why do I care about Pong enough to play it without my hands? Like, I'm not undergoing brain surgery for that shit. But back on topic, no, the NES really isn't that great.
So I think
The memories are.
I think that the NES definitely has a place, and it should always have a place. But I think a lot of people give it more credit than it deserves in the playability aspect. So you've got Punch-Out. You've got Super Mario Brothers 1, 2, and 3. You've got Contra, you've got Zelda, you've got Castlevania, you've got Tetris, and you've got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle games. Those, for me, are absolute 100% staples.
How did Mario not make that list?
I said Mario. 1, 2, and 3.
Oh.
So, like, you've got the obvious staples
Unsolved.
there that are still fun to play to this day. And if you gave somebody that hasn't ever played a game, how you're going to find that, I don't know. But
Hold the hell on.
yes.
How the fuck are you going to leave Paperboy off of that?
Yeah, yes, Paperboy is fun, but I don't think it's a staple in the
It's
NES.
a staple.
I don't think it's a staple.
Do you need me to go upstairs and get a staple gun?
I don't have one up there, so enjoy. I don't have one down here either.
I'm bringing a lighter next
So
week.
there's a bunch of games for the NES that I have nostalgia for that I didn't list. I mean, there's Dr. Mario, there's Excite Bike.
Dude, Dr. Mario was
There's
fucking Tetris.
There's Duck Hunt.
Dr. Mario's fucking... Duck Hunt
There's
is
Bubble-
the biggest one you missed because that was the
But
pair with...
not everybody can just...
Everybody loved Duck Hunt.
Yes, I know, but you need this thing to play it.
A TV?
A CRT TV to play it.
They didn't fucking have anything else in 86.
I know.
Come on!
But you can't play it without it. You can't just put it into your Retron and play it on your 27-inch BenQ monitor.
Why not?
Because it doesn't. That's not how light guns work.
Why not?
Because that's not how they made them work.
Why not?
Because technology.
Because it wasn't technology. Because it was a light gun.
So like, there's a ton.
knees.
There's a ton that other people have nostalgia for. You know, like the Mega Mans and stuff like that.
Do Mega Man was on the list?
Metroid.
Ain't nobody in here like Metroid.
A lot of people like Metroid. There's a ton that I probably didn't list. RC Pro Am and
We should buy them a bus so they can all go to Canada.
and stuff like that. But for me, I think that like if I'm sitting somebody down, like if I'm sitting my kids down to play the NES, are they going to enjoy it as much as if I threw on like the Super Nintendo or the N64 or a
No.
PlayStation 1?
No.
I don't think so. They're going to enjoy the hits because those
No.
are timeless.
No.
100
They're going to get bored of the shit because their first exposure to technology was literally 30 years ahead of it.
My daughter likes to play Mario 1 and Mario 3.
For 5 minutes.
Yes, but she's also 4.
How long does she play the other games, though? How
Not-
long can she sit and play Switch? I've seen her play Switch longer
Not
than
that
5
long.
minutes. It's longer than 5 minutes.
It's longer than 5 minutes, yes, but she's also played these longer than 5 minutes too.
Well, you just... What?
Most of the time, on average, it is not longer than 5 minutes.
I think we need to quantitatively evaluate this.
It is. I want to sit down and play Mario 1. Okay. And then it turns out that she just wants to go play with her toys that are down here, and then I end up playing Mario 1.
That's the key.
or Mario 3 or, you know, whatever other thing. Like the issue is there's so many things that she can jump into, so it's like, you know, she doesn't have that I want to sit down and actually like play it mindset yet. That's not there.
I need to inform you. I grew up in the same generation that you did. I basically went through games the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Today, at 35 years of age, even I cannot stand to sit there and play Mario 1 for more than 5 minutes.
Yes, but you, my friend, have one of the worst cases. No, actually, I take that back. The second worst case of ADHD that I've ever seen.
I disagree with that.
You can't even stay off your phone during a podcast.
That's by choice.
Well, make better choices.
Well, that's a whole different thing, but I'm just saying it's not engaging. Like, there comes a time with this stuff where it's like, oh man, like, do I sit here and I think about, you know, when I was first playing it with like my dad or my grandfather, and it's like, damn, that was awesome. That was amazing. I love those memories for what the memories are. But when I think about the system and I see where humanity's come, I don't sit down and I'm like, wow, this was truly an act, like, this was amazing. For the time it was. For the time it brought the computer to the living room TV.
It's always going to be a product of the time. That's for any of these systems, is they were a product. But there are some that do transcend that period of time, like Mario 3.
No.
100%. Mario 3 transcends time. Anybody at any age can play that game.
If Nintendo wanted to make an amazing game, they should take the concept of Mario 3, all the levels, the progression.
I don't like where this is going.
The raccoon tail, the wing, all that stuff, and create a 3D version of it.
No.
Not open world.
No, they already have.
What?
Or was it? No, that wasn't 3D. That was the overworld was 3D. The levels were 2D. It's Super Mario World 3D, or New Super Mario Brothers. Yeah, New Super Mario Brothers. The Wii for the Wii and the Wii U. No, Mario 3 is one of those games that is just an absolute staple in any household at any point. It is a game that you can just pick up if you've never played it before, and you can play it and enjoy it and have fun no matter what, because it's just a concept that works. People make that to this day, and it still works.
It only works in a slower world.
Not everybody is going 1,000 miles an hour. A majority, yes, but anybody that enjoys playing games or has any interest in playing games can pick up Mario 3 and they can play it, and it will hold their attention, because it doesn't matter on Mario 3. It doesn't matter about graphics. It doesn't matter about content. It doesn't matter about, you know, blah, blah, blah. You have one goal: to get from this point of the level to this point of the level. And do that 8 times.
For 8 worlds.
Or there's secrets to be found.
Right.
And then there's little mini games spread out, and then there's castles, and there's the boat ships and stuff. Like,
Alicia just said it. It's a classic.
it's 100% a classic. But as much as it is a classic, I think that it also can be somebody's introduction to gaming, to set their standard of what they like and what they choose to play after that.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's already been proven. The only reason we played it as much as we did is because it's what we had.
Well, yeah, 100%.
It's like so I saw this little boy down in Washington when we went down, and he was sitting there with his mom, and literally the only toy he owned was a Hot Wheels car.
Yeah.
And he played with that thing for hours. He was still playing with it when we left the archives.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that's literally a 50-cent Hot Wheels car, man. I mean, like, he just kept playing it because he had it. That's all he had.
Yeah.
And that's just the thing, is like with these systems, with all that we had growing up, you know it. Like, we had the NES. That's what we had. That's what we could play.
Yeah.
If you're presented with the choice between, it's like, do I want to play N64? Do I want to play NES? Any kid is going to pick an N64. I can almost promise you. That's why we're developing them the way we are. It doesn't mean that the NES loses its charm or its appeal, but it does start to take a back seat because of the advancement.
Yes, it does take a back seat because of the new shiny toy, 100%. But anybody that has an interest to revisit anything old and says, you know what, I want to see where the games I play now came from. Or, you know what, I was watching this YouTuber and they were talking about this. Or, you know, whatever it is that gets them to be like, you know what, I want to pick up an NES. Is it something that is going to hold them and be of value to them?
Only if it's all they have.
No, because you have wants. You have things that you want to do. Like, I have a PS5, I have a Switch, I have all the things that I need. But if I have a choice, I could play a game on my PC, or I could play a brand new game on my PS5, or I can be like, you know what? Actually, I want to just sit down and play some Mario 3. And I can sit down and play Mario 3 and enjoy myself. It doesn't have to be the only thing that I have. It's a thing that I want to do.
Right, but how often are you going back to that?
I play it a ton. It's like a comfort game for me, where it's like I'm upstairs and I'm like, I have the Switch. Like, we're not really doing anything. I want to play the Switch.
Whoa.
And I can hop on Mario 3.
No. Whoa, yeah, no. Woosah. We are talking about the NES. You are not allowed to include the adaptions.
We are talking about games.
No.
On the NES.
Right. It requires the NES. We're not talking about the adaptions.
It doesn't matter.
Maybe the same game, but it's
doesn't-
not the same game.
It doesn't matter, because the thing that's going to hold you to, do I want to play NES, is the games that you choose to. If you pick 3 random games off of the NES library, chances are they're probably dog shit. And if those are your 3 games that you chose just on a whim to play, your first impression of the NES is like, this is awful, I want nothing to do with this.
If the context is about somebody, adventuring into the NES and, wanting to go back to it,
yes,
I don't think it's fair to include the adaptions where you could literally take it anywhere with you, because that was one of the things about the NES that was charming, was that you were tied to the TV.
I'm not talking
literally by a cord.
I'm not talking about the console as a console. I'm talking about the console in the fact that, does it have enough good games on the console to make it worthwhile for somebody who wants to visit that console to play it. Most of the people
play the console or play the games.
The games that were for the console.
So we're talking about the concepts of the games, not necessarily like the console, but the games. Yes. Okay, but that's a big difference.
But the console can come into play, because you can make the argument of you are getting a different experience if you play it the way that it was meant to be played on the console, on the old TV, versus playing it on a Switch or emulation or whatever way you choose.
And I think that's the big difference, is that for me, I don't see the console, like the actual console, being tied to the TV, all that. Like, for you and me, it's cool. It's like, oh yeah, we're kids again.
Yeah, like we have a nostalgia for it. But even with having a nostalgia for it, I personally think that the NES is a smidge overrated in terms of like playability and like actual things worthwhile and worth diving into.
A smidge.
A smidge, because the reason I say a smidge is because some of the biggest franchises in the history of gaming came from that console. And I think that is very important for anybody that wants to, that is a gamer and started maybe on the PS5 or the PS4, and they decide that they want to go back and, you know, revisit older games and stuff like. They want to expand their library. They want to expand their experience. If you go to play these huge titles like, you know, Punch-Out!, Mario, Mega
Zelda.
Man, Contra, Zelda, Castlevania, like,
so
whatever.
Let's real quick. Whether it was NES or something else, those concepts are very much isolated from the vehicle that they travel on, if you will, right?
Yes.
So let's say NES never even happened and the first console to come out was Sega. Super Mario, Zelda, all of that easily could have happened on Sega.
Yeah.
So I don't think the NES has a damn bit to do with any of that, other than just being available as a vehicle.
Yes, but again, it comes at experience and what it's tied to. Like, if I think Mario 3, it is tied to the NES.
Yeah, I mean,
or
if
exactly, that is the thing that it was on. Whether it's how I choose or how they choose to play it, that's on them. But depending on how far they want to go down this rabbit hole of, you know, becoming a gamer, becoming a game collector, becoming, you know, a game enthusiast, or whatever they choose to do in however they want to play their games, you can buy an NES and you can play it the way that it was meant to be played, or you can have your Switch, or you can have your PC and emulation, or, you know, they have games on PS5 that has the Mega Man collection or the Castlevania collection.
What was your first car?
My first car was a 2004 Hyundai Sonata.
So if you could go get a 2004 Hyundai Sonata today, would you?
No.
What was your first computer?
A Gateway, probably.
Would you buy a Gateway today?
Not
a new one. They don't make new ones.
No. I would be interested in having an old Gateway.
Why?
Because I could get, like, the floppy disk games and load them in and play.
Okay. Any other reason?
Pretty much, no.
Did you use a Gateway for editing?
I don't think that would work.
Would you use a Gateway for recording?
I don't think that would work either.
Would you use a Gateway for web browsing even?
I don't think it would be fast enough. I'd be better off I'd be better off getting a flip phone to get on the internet.
So this is kind of what I'm pointing out is, like, you know, at its root, all of these are products.
Yes.
And products evolve over time. So you look at the different products that are evolving,
Mm-hmm.
you know, let's say you get a 1921 Model T.
Mm-hmm.
Do you drive that every day to work?
No.
But you have it because it's a piece of history. It's amazing.
I see where you're going, but I still don't agree with it.
You literally just said yourself that the NES is a smidge overrated.
Yes.
I think it's completely overrated, so...
But you're looking at it from a different perspective than the target that I am talking about.
The target you're talking about is people who are, like, hard up on games and gaming systems.
No.
Or are you talking about, like, just kids in general?
I'm going to just draw it out for you so that you can grasp it. There is a kid. Say he's 10.
Mm-hmm.
He's had a PS4 that his dad passed down to him because he got a PS5.
Mm-hmm.
He has started playing a handful of games on the PS4. He's played, some of the big titles. He loves gaming. It's something he loves to do.
Mm-hmm.
One Christmas, his parents get him a Switch.
Mm-hmm.
They get him the newest Mario, and they get him Animal Crossing. And they say, have at it. And he loves it. He loves Mario. He loves Animal Crossing. He loves playing them. Beats them both. Just absolutely, gaming is just a thing that he is, gung-ho on. He absolutely loves it.
He didn't beat Animal Crossing, but go on.
So he loves it. It's a thing that he develops a passion for. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
He goes on his iPad.
Oh.
He looks up Mario in YouTube. Okay, he types Super Mario Brothers on YouTube. Gameplay of Mario 3 pops up, and he goes, "What's that?" Walks into the kitchen, "Dad, what's this?" And shows him Mario 3 gameplay. He goes, "Oh, Mario 3, that's a classic. What do you mean? What is it for?" "Oh, it was for the NES when I played it. Blah, blah. I played it when I was a kid." "Oh, that looks pretty cool. I wouldn't mind playing that, I think." "Oh, well, actually, if we get the Switch online, you can actually go back and play some of the games from this system. Here, let me see your Switch." Buys the, online expansion for the Switch. Unlocks NES, Super NES, N64, Sega, Game Boy, the whole gamut. He just
spent like $100.
Goes hog wild, just gets the whole expansion pack. Kid loads up Super Mario 3 on, the Switch, starts playing it, absolutely loves it. Falls in love with it, and he goes, "This is great. It's just like Mario now, but different." He wants to venture out more. So he's like, I like the Ninja Turtles. Let's try the Ninja Turtle. I don't think there's a Ninja Turtles game on the Switch, but for the sake of the story, let's just pretend that it's on there.
Yeah.
He plays the Manhattan Project because that's my favorite. Chooses to play the Manhattan Project. Loves it. Absolutely loves it. He's like, "I love this. This is so cool. It's like a game now, but it's from this." So now he's like, "Dad, can we get a Nintendo? Like the old one that you used to have when you were a kid?" So the dad takes him to, whatever, a classic video game store, and they go pick up an NES, and he looks at a way to upscale it so he doesn't have to buy a bubble TV, whatever, and they get an NES and a bubble TV. CRT TV, whatever you want to call it.
Who the hell calls it bubble?
A bunch of people call them bubble TVs. So
I quit America.
So the dad, they go out, and he goes, "You know what, son? Whatever looks interesting to you, pick it up, and we'll get it." So he said, "You can pick 5 games." So he goes through, and he's flipping through, and he picks 5 games out of that bunch. And he takes them home, and he wants to play them. Are those 5 games going to be of quality, or are they more likely going to be ones that he's like, "Well, this isn't like the ones that I play. This is awful"?
Well, for one, he started his exposure to these games on a modern console with modern controls and the ability to take it anywhere. So when that's what I'm saying.
Stop
is like
focusing on that, Andy.
But you can't, because that's literally
Andy,
part of the fun.
If I play Mario 3 on my NES here on this CRT TV, or I play it on the Switch upstairs, it is pretty much almost the same experience. It's the same game. You do the same thing, Andy.
I get that. What I'm telling you is
it doesn't matter.
That is significantly less responsive. It's going to frustrate you a hell of a lot more.
No, it's not.
Dude, I've done it.
So have I. And it's pretty much almost the same experience. Except I have 2 other buttons up there and joysticks. And here I have a directional pad and a B and A button. Stop focusing on the minuscule things. It's just about taking the game and what's on the cartridge and sitting down and doing the thing.
And
Don't worry about how responsive the buttons are. Don't worry about how laggy it is on any of the consoles. It's the kid taking Mario, going do 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 That's all it's about.
Outside of the actual console piece of that, I have literally lived that story.
We all have.
It does not work that way. The child does not like the old games, at least in my story. Like, she hated them. I mean, that's...
Not everybody's going to like them.
I don't even think most people will, because that's my whole point. We're, like, these kids are being brought up differently.
I understand, Andy. But this is a kid who has free will and has discoverability on his side. And he chooses that, hey, I want to venture out and play other things that maybe aren't the new shiny toy because I'm a little kid and I like adventure. So he decides to look at Super Mario 3. And he plays it and he loves it. And he develops his passion of loving video games.
I think for this one, I'm just going to let you have your little story and go with it.
Oh my God, I could just...
Yeah, I don't think the NES is great anymore.
I think it's a smidge overrated in the aspect of, like, people who talk about video games and video game collecting and what things are worth revisiting. I think to revisit games on the NES, you only have you probably have this many good quality games that will hold somebody's attention. I think there are way too many games that if you give a child and tell them, hey, go pick 5 games that look cool to you and let's go home and play them, chances are they're probably going to suck. And he's going to play them for half of a second and be like, But the this many that are games that have transcended time and can hold somebody's attention just as much as a game of Fortnite, I think that is why the NES holds that little spot of history.
I didn't say it didn't hold history.
That it is worth looking into at least to some degree for somebody who appreciates video games and wants to visit where they originated for the mainstream. I've never been so close to strangling the shit out of you until tonight.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's going to happen. Like, we don't see eye to eye on that, and we can agree to disagree. I mean, you think that it's worthwhile. I don't think it's really worthwhile, but I want it to be worthwhile. Like, in my heart, I do, but I've seen it. Like, I tried to expose my daughter to NES games and Sega games and all that other shit on the Switch. There's also
key moments or, like moments in time of that child's life where no matter what you try and do... Perfect example. Alicia's brother. I tried to get him to play golf when I started getting back into golf. I said, hey, man, you have clubs in the basement. Let's go play golf. We went and played golf. He had zero interest in it. Like, we played, 4 holes, and he was, just done with it. Had no interest, didn't want to do it again. He was like, this is stupid. I don't want to do this.
Well, that's...
Guess who's big into golf now, Andy?
Not him. Definitely not him.
Him.
No. I'm not going to say it, but... you're absolutely right, but to your point, or to my point, and whoever's point, I think people are more likely to get involved with NES or even any vintage console after childhood, because that's when they typically get an appreciation for what history carries.
I think it's a case-by-case basis. There are kids that PS4 was their first console, and they have zero want to visit anything before then. They don't care at all.
Case in point.
But there are also kids who started on the PS4 who have developed such a passion for gaming beyond what a average person has, and decides, I want to look at stuff that isn't the PS4, whether it be PS1, whether it be GameCube, whether it be N64, whether it be NES, whether it be Atari, whatever it is. They will figure out what they want to look at.
Have you researched this, or is this just your aspiration for your daughter?
No.
And your son?
It's a thing that definitely happens, especially in the age that we live in, where
and there are kids that collect rocks too, but
people that watch YouTube, or they have a streamer can play any game at any time. There are people that are in the mainstream that still stream Super Mario 3. There are people that still revisit Ocarina of Time, Mario 64, Resident Evil 2, Diddy Kong Racing, Mario Tennis, Star Fox. Like, there are people that play these games. There's a whole actual website dedicated to streaming games. Multiple websites that have people streaming games.
Don't get me started on that.
You can find what you're looking for, and if it appeases you or has if you have any sort of interest, am I thinking that the person playing Fortnite right now is going to want to do anything other than play Fortnite or play any other game other than Fortnite? Probably not, because unfortunately, the most people that are casual gamers start playing Fortnite, and then they just play Fortnite, Call of Duty, and that's all they want to do ever. They don't want to play anything else. But there are people who will play, they start playing Fortnite, but then they pick up Horizon Zero Dawn, or they pick up Spider-Man, or they pick up,
Please don't say Fortnite one more fucking time.
It's just the thing that is the popular thing to do.
Fortnite.
You have somebody that picks up a single-player game, and they play,
man.
and they're like, yeah, this is awesome.
Can we just play
I
Parcheesi?
enjoyed this. And then they want to play other single-player games,
Please?
and then they start going down the rabbit hole.
Please.
No.
Can we just play Parcheesi?
No.
Monopoly?
No.
Clue?
No.
The hell you got against Clue?
I don't really care for Clue, if I'm being honest.
What the
The older I get, the more I don't really care playing board games.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're getting ready to enter that era now, but
Well, yeah, I just played 3 rounds of Candyland with Lydia last night.
I'm so sorry.
It's brutal.
Candyland is brutal. You should really try to get her on like Payday or the Game of Life. Payday would be good.
Is Payday?
Payday is like this. So the board game is based on a calendar, and it's obviously got money, so you're gonna have to help her with the math and teaching her how to count and stuff. But you go through the month, and it teaches you like, oh, you got to pay a bill now. Oh, okay, you get paid today. Oh, your grandma gave you $50 for your birthday. It's actually really educational, but I don't even know if you can get it anymore.
If you've walked into a board game section of a Goodwill, you'd be shocked.
Don't play Jumanji.
I don't think I've ever played Jumanji.
What?
I don't think I've ever played Jumanji.
Oh shit, we have Jumanji at home. We'll have to bring it over.
It's more fun when you sit down with other people to play board games than it is to sit down as a family to play board games.
Well, yeah, because if you sit down with your family to play board, especially if it's Monopoly, if you frickin' sit down with your family to play Monopoly, it is inevitably ending in the fucking table being flipped over and shit flying across the room about who has more hotels and why you didn't pay rent.
Yeah, Monopoly is always a game. I have to be in the mood to play Monopoly, but if we have the right people, it is fun.
I mean, you have to be in the mood for anything. I know that.
But there's some things that
I know that.
There's some things that I can play that I can just play and be like, okay, I'm okay.
I want the Monopoly that's the electronic version, so you don't have to deal with the cash.
Oh, yeah, I know. Payday was a fun game.
I just opened her a freaking account.
A what?
An account. A checking account.
Really?
Yep.
Why?
So I can teach her how to balance a fucking checkbook, unlike half of American adults. It's amazing. So like, there's an app for her, an app, and I can have an app on my side. I can send her an allowance, just like it were a paycheck, like 1st and 15th or however. Transfer money as needed, lock the card, see all the transactions, restrict the money so that way she can only spend certain amounts of it, and she gets a fucking Visa.
That's nice, because then, like, if you drop her off at like a birthday party at a bowling alley or something, like, she can doesn't have to worry about, hey Dad, can I have money? And then you're like, oh, do I give her $40? Do I give her $50? Do I give her $20? Like, what is enough? And then you give her too much, and then
she loses it.
Yeah.
No, I thought it was,
spends it on
I
whatever.
thought it was awesome.
But here it's like you use this card to cover what you need to cover, and then
you're never going to guess.
You can look at every transaction and be like, hey, look, I saw you bought that 16-ounce Coke from the vending machine. I really think that was necessary.
Exactly. Guess who it's through?
I'm going to assume Members First.
Fuck no, I hate that place. Capital One.
Interesting.
Does that frickin' youth checking. So, I mean, you got a couple years, but...
Yes.
Well, more than a couple, but...
Shit, $10.
$10.
The amount to give them.
Oh, yeah.
Just give them $10.
No, I'm giving her 25 twice a month now, so...
Well, that's cool. I mean...
I'm also making her clean the whole damn house for that, but...
I mean, that is a good thing to teach your kids. It's like, look, we're doing that in very small amounts now of, like, getting Lydia to clean up her toys or do her little chores, and then, we give her stickers, blah, blah, that whole thing. She was doing good with it for a while, but now she's starting to have, like, the resistance of, like, she makes a huge mess, and we're like, go ahead, clean it up. And she's like, oh, I don't want to clean it up. And it's like, well, if you don't want to clean up that big of a mess, then how about let's not make that big of a mess in the first place?
That's one. So that's a fight that I'm still fighting. But the other thing for you with that is to make sure that she understands that nobody wants to clean it up. Yeah. Nobody's looking for that. You're not, like, you are not abnormal for not wanting to clean that up. Yeah. Nobody wants to do it. So that's...
And we tell her, like, look, it's not fair for us to have to clean it up, because we're not the ones that got all the stuff out. You are. If you're going to get the stuff out, you're going to clean it up. And, we have to fight this whole big battle of, like... we used to play Magic at a shop over by Gabriel Brothers. And I was talking to the owner the one time. Like, this was a while ago. And we were talking about how he got into, like, Magic and, like, becoming a store, because this dude knew nothing, like, barely anything about the game. No passion, he just owned a Magic store. And we were just like, like, how'd you get into it? And he goes, well, my partner, blah, blah, blah. His partner was not in there at the time. And he goes, actually, he's like, we were going to breed seahorses. And I was like, huh?
All makes sense.
And he goes, yeah, you can make a killing breeding seahorses.
Breeding seahorses isn't easy. You can't have multiple seahorses in one tank.
And I was like...
They're aggressive.
Apparently, you can, like, breed the seahorses a certain way. Yes, Gamer's Realm. You can breed the seahorses a certain way to, like, get certain coloring.
Yeah.
And then, like, certain coloring sells for, like, crazy money.
Yeah.
And I was like, never in my life have I ever heard someone be like, man, I have this collection of seahorses at my house. I've heard of people, like, into reptiles and, like, breeding reptiles and stuff.
I mean, I almost had an octopus.
Why?
Why not? Dude, it's cool. I mean,
guess whatever.
I had a
whatever you're into.
I had a 125-gallon fish tank, so it was like, ooh. I mean, I was so. Unfortunately, I never actually had that tank. I gave it to a friend of mine, and then turns out after we drilled the bottom, something must have happened to that because the bottom did not last.
Dude, there's a guy I used to know. So let's get seahorses. We're just gonna have a whole seahorse operation down in the other side of the basement. Just a wall of just aquarium tanks.
That takes a lot of money.
You come down here, there's people in like full gowns and masks, and they're just like, they have like these little beakers, and they're just collecting little seahorses, and they're like holding them up to the light and being like, this one passes, and they pass it down this line, and they put it in a bag with water, and they seal it shut, and they package it in this thing, they tape it up, put a shipping label on it, and then they take it, and
those are living
it's an
creatures.
assembly line up the stairs.
Those are living creatures.
Out to a truck that's like a box truck, and they just have it filled to the brim, and they're just like, they close the thing, and they latch it, and they lock it, and then they beat on the back, and then they drive away. It's like a whole black market seahorse operation.
This is $700 in seahorses. This is $700,000.
How'd you make your first million, LJ? Breeding seahorses. And then I get involved in cryptocurrency.
Crypto is another fucking level.
Oh, it is never going to be a thing.
How'd you make your first million? Been done made my first million. I'm like, shit, this is it. I found a way to make a seahorse nut.
Don't look at my YouTube search history.
God, I seriously hope nobody from my job ever finds this damn channel.
Oh my god. What do you do for a living? I make seahorses nut, and then I make them do it into other seahorses and hope that they come out a certain color so I can get $100 a pop.
Jesus Christ, it went from bad to worse. Like, saying that the first time wasn't bad enough. You double down on it. It's like, okay, we're all in now.
You gotta take the joke a step further.
Oh my god. We're trying to get a specific color here. What the fuck are you, America?
You want to know some like
so wrong?
Have you, out of the whole time that you've known me and Alicia?
Oh god.
Has with joking back and forth like that, where people take like it's you take it a step further, and then I take it a step further than that, and then you take it a step further than that. She is the one that will take it to the level where everybody just stops laughing and they're like, I think that's a little too far.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think you're probably right there. Your wife has a hard time identifying that line.
There's been many cases where like we've been with friends and they're like, all right, yep, you took it there, didn't you? I'm like, even I wasn't going to be the one touching that one.
Like, she just... Well, I forget what it was the other night, but it was just like, whoa. Like, even I wasn't going there, and I typically go there.
I will take it pretty damn far, but there are points that I just don't cross. Well, she crosses that for sure.
I'm still pissed at you.
Why?
I wanted to be at the driving range an hour ago.
Well, how about this? You kidnap me on Sunday morning and drag me against my will out the door while she's stuck going through all of the stuff in the baby shower.
Yeah, I was about to say you have an event this weekend,
and
so
I'm like,
if I do that, I'm going to get my ass fucking...
And I'm like, oh no, I just got dragged out of my house against my will to go golfing. Oh no, what am I ever going to do?
Yo, that's going to get my throat slit.
Now you can do the thing. Like, comment, subscribe.
We're Dad's Game Room. Peace.
Yes, brother.